Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. Our guest of today is Samantha, and she's the head of marketing at ProSymmetry. And thanks for being here on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Joey.
For sure. And can you tell a little bit more about yourself and all the amazing stuff ProSymmetry is doing?
Yeah, I would love to. So, yes, my name is Samantha. I am the head of marketing here at ProSymmetry. I've been here for almost 6 years now and first started in customer success and really went to grow and manage that team. Started dabbling in our implementation, our onboarding, more of our consulting area as well, and also grew and started managing that team. And I still do today. But really, my main focus today here at ProSymmetry is our marketing, our positioning in the market, still meeting with customers, still understanding the problems that our products are solving. We are in the PPM space, so project and portfolio management space, specifically in resource capacity planning. But we also just released a new product called Tempest Portfolio, where we are now more in that strategic portfolio management area too. So definitely pretty deep in that business, organizational operations, PMO space, working with customers across industries, across the world. Um, just excited to be here today.
Very nice. And you said you've been part of the company for 6 years, right? And how long does ProSymmetry exist?
Yeah, so ProSymmetry actually has been a company for probably going on 15 or 20 years. First, the company started as more of a consulting area, doing some IT services work. Eventually, our founder built the first product, which was a what-if simulator that connected directly to Microsoft Project. So really taking that data and saying, okay, we need to shift this project. What is that going to do for us? So we were Microsoft project dependent. And then from there, we just saw that the market was really extending beyond that, developing our own product, getting more into the resource planning of Microsoft Project is super limited to Samantha's 50% effort on this, and really dug in and built our own product around resource capacity planning, seeing what people were doing in Excel, bringing that into the product as well. And now we've just grown and expanded. And the 6 years I've been here, especially including COVID. I really started right before COVID. It was really interesting to see the development of our customers and our business and how that's really transformed and led us to where we are today.
Very nice. And out of all the companies you guys are serving, which type of company benefits the most from your service?
Oh, that's such a great question. I would say we are industry agnostic. So whether you are more in the biopharm industry, whether you're more in the product development, we'll say medical device industry, things like that, whether you are a semiconductor, we're really financial services, we're really industry agnostic. Where our product really lives and where teams are getting the most value out of it is going to be in your business transformation offices, your enterprise project management offices, your IT project management offices. We also have internal audit teams using our product as well, all about understanding the people you have, their capacity, especially in a global sense. You know, here in the US, we work 40 hours a week, or at least that's expected for a full-time employee. But in the UK, they may only work 37 and a half hours per week. And that does make a difference when you're planning for the people and the skills that they have on the work that you have. Industry agnostic for sure, but really about the work that your organization has to grow, to innovate, to keep the business running and making sure that you have those people. Definitely a wide area across the business.
I love that. And you mentioned you've been part of the company for 6 years. And I guess,
Yeah.
especially being head of marketing, it's a lot about solving challenges and really being open-minded towards growing. And what are some of the challenges you have faced during the last 6 years, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, great question, because truthfully, we run very lean. And I think that's a really good place to start here. As an organization, we run very lean. We are a private company. We are bootstrapped. So we don't have any of that private equity money or that venture capitalist money, which is great and also does produce challenges as well. Everything from running lean. I said I started in customer success, started dabbling in our implementation team. At the same time, was listening in on marketing calls and giving some of my previous experience in the digital marketing world to our CEO. And then eventually driving some of the content, and then eventually being the face of the company on YouTube, and eventually now really running marketing and making that my full-time focus here. I think one of the major challenges I have seen for the organization, and as just a head of marketing for a company like ours, is really going to be about what to focus on. So sure, our product, we have our foundation, we know our position in the market, we know where we stand there. But I started with COVID, and 3 months before COVID hit, a lot of our organizations, our current customers, they were using our product to determine those workforce reductions that unfortunately had to happen and where they could cut and what that meant for the business. And as someone with that marketing experience and being a customer success manager as well, really understanding, okay, how can we best support our customers? And then at the same time, we are a business. We need to make sure we're growing somehow. And thankfully we grew throughout COVID, which was, great for us. And then as we've continued on and bringing a new product to the market is just understanding we have our positioning, we have our foundation, but as things are changing, especially now, we are a global company, our user base is global. So understanding how tariffs may impact someone and the projects that they're doing and the people and the skills that they have and need. And so from that marketing standpoint, just the challenge of really focusing on, okay, what can we solve for people? I trust our product. I know where we're great, but what's going on in the world today and how can we make sure we're solving that for an organization? So really that's to me, like, that's like a continuous improvement thing. Like we're always focusing on what's happening in the world, what's happening to our customers and making sure that we're there to support them.
Yeah, I love that because like right now there are a lot of founders watching the podcast, and usually the mistake we like many of us usually makes, we are so passionate about what we're doing that we forget to connect with our customers. Like what's actually a fit? Is there actually a need? Because if you can be as passionate as you are, but if your product doesn't sell, like your company is not going to keep existing. So I love how you guys like are so involved and towards solving the challenges. What is a mindset you adopted towards which makes you enable to just be there like fully and just keep your focus on actually solving it with the best intention possible?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. For me personally, I have the mindset that the customer may not always be right, but what they're bringing to you is always real. Whether that is something where I'm like, hey, that's a simple fix. We can do this or that, whether it's product related and it's a configuration thing, or whether it is, hey, we are moving from an enterprise PMO to a value stream or a value management office. And how does what we're doing today in the product really translate? And at the same time, our organization, we've had exposure to so many organizations and bringing that experience along and making sure we're communicating that with the customers. Really, my mindset has been the customer may not always be right, and anyone in product and who has a software will agree when we get specific forms of feedback, but their concerns are always valid. I think also too, a big part of my mindset is starting at this organization as a customer success manager. I mean, I was managing all accounts at one point, every account that we had, and really digging in and understanding, okay, like, why are you using our software? What problem is this solving for you? How does your organization run? That to me, for someone who is a head of marketing, is invaluable. I actually understand our customers. I know how they talk. I know what problems they are trying to solve. And at the same time, continuing to have those conversations too. Like I said earlier, the challenges that we were solving 6 years ago, 5 years ago, right before COVID and during COVID, they're not necessarily the same challenges today. So what's going on? My mindset really is all about our customers and making sure that they are getting the most value in what they have, and then also what we are bringing to the market as well. So just customer first.
I love it. And by saying customer first, also is never like a finished product, because you're always proving what you're saying. In the last like 5 years ago when you started with COVID, it's a completely different environment than we are rolling in right now as we speak to each other in the podcast. And talking about that, like what are some of the ways how you guys are acquiring customers at the moment?
Yeah, great question. So one of the things I'm finding super interesting, there are two things that I think I could focus here that may not be typical for a SaaS product in the market today. We show up. We are at events. So we go to a lot of Gartner events, a lot of IT Expo. We were just at an enterprise risk and audit conference. We go to a lot of events. We're going to the PMI Global Symposium in a couple weeks too. And I think one of the biggest things for us is really just showing up to where our ICP is, to where our potential customers are, and to where our customers are too. Showing up, getting to know people, demoing our product right in front of them at these events, and that follow-up with them. One great thing about us being so lean is the person you're talking to at the booth is the person who's going to follow up you, is the person who's going to run that demo, is the person who's going to make that sale for you. And even when you transition to your implementation consultant, to your customer experience member afterwards, you're still going to have a direct line to them. Like, you still know that they're here. So really, for customer acquisition, I would say those events are huge for us, which is great to see and not always common. I see it for some people, and then other people, like, they I cannot imagine getting as many leads as we do out of events. So there's one. Another one that I would say that I think is really relevant in today's world and sometimes very overhyped is truthfully AI. I follow the mindset of last touch point attribution in marketing. Is that what matters? The first touch point, where do they come from? What data can we bring in to mark all of that? That's all great. But also I want to understand where the prospect and the customer remembers that they saw us from. And one thing I'm seeing a significant increase in is ChatGPT or any type of AI. So people are going to, we'll just say ChatGPT and searching best resource management software or best software for, scheduling skills or whatever they're searching. And we're coming up. We are right there at top. ChatGPT is citing us, which is amazing to see. And I think that's a result of all of the work that we have put in over the last few years on top of funnel content, middle of funnel content, video content, case studies that we put out there. All of our webinars are on our YouTube. And that is really exciting to start seeing as well. And thankfully, all of our prospects who say that, my very first question to the salesperson is, what did they Google? What did they search? I want to know what they searched. I want to know who else came up. I want to know all of these things. And thankfully, the prospects and customers are pretty straightforward with that. But of course, we have our landing pages and our demand generation through content and demos and everything. But those are increasingly two areas of acquisition that I think are investments in over time are just really paying off right now.
Let's say you look back at the 6 years you were part of ProSymmetry. And let's the knowledge you're having, as right now we're speaking to each other in a podcast, what is one thing you would do differently with all the knowledge you're having right now as we're speaking?
That is a really good question. And honestly, I think it changes every day. One thing I don't know if proud's the right word, or one thing I think I did right was I came from a very large organization, a public university here in the US that was very structured, very rigid. I was going to my boss saying, I want to do more. And they were like, no, there is no more for you to do. Your role is this. And so when I was looking for a new role, I was really looking for a small, lean startup company. The work I'm doing is making an impact. And I do feel truly lucky that I landed here at ProSymmetry. They took a chance on me. I had no SaaS background, no software background. And I think what I did right was coming in as a customer success manager, figuring that out, making our first additional hire for a customer success manager, jumping into our implementation team to just start running implementations and figuring out what that was like, and then eventually continuing to build that team. I think one of the things I did right to start there is I have experience around the company to understand how things work, to understand our customers, to understand the connection between everything within the company. If I could go back and change anything, though, within the last 6 years, I think, and this is something we were talking about before we started recording, is just doing it, just executing, just doing the thing that I trust myself to do based on my experience. There are things that in the marketing role that over the last year had this idea a year and a half ago or a year ago. Why didn't I just do it then? And I think for me personally, it's just about executing and doing things and testing things and just getting it out there. So that's my mantra specifically for the next year, is just, you have the idea, you trust it enough, just do it.
I love that. And I talked to someone in a podcast before, life is all, and especially in doing business, but you can even talk with my brother and that, life is all about failing forward, right? About taking action and just learning from whatever you're doing, right? And if you're learning from whatever you're doing, there's no such thing as failing anymore, because everything what you're doing is actually getting you closer towards what you want. Because if you don't succeed, you're learning from the lessons, right? Yeah. And amongst your 6 years of experience, did you have this aha moment where you were like, shit, it's all about taking action? Could you tell a little more about it?
That's such a yes. So there are two moments, and one was before I really was even actively doing marketing. I was sitting in on meetings and giving input here and there. One was when I did start stepping in and helping our implementation team. Because again, lean, you just do whatever needs to be done. That for me was a big aha moment in terms of I know enough about the product to really direct our customers and to really consult with them and to really dig into the weeds with them and be that trusted guide, that trusted consultant, if you will. And it really came from doing some of those implementations listening to the discovery sessions, listening in, asking all of the follow-up questions. That for me, looking back, especially because that happened about 2 years into the company, I was still supporting our customers 100%, but that for me just clicked of like, I dug in. I understand our customers. We can now really move this forward because it all just fell into place for me. I think another aha moment with our marketing, the marketing side of the house, was last spring into summer and then into a little bit of fall, we did a complete website rebuild. We looked at everything that was on our previous website. We identified this page we love as a company, but it's not performing. Why is that? We have all of these pieces of content out there that are, one, either outdated and need to be updated, or two, just aren't performing. So do we even need to have them on the website, and just things like that. And that moment was a real eye-opening experience in terms of focusing our messaging, focusing on the brand, if you will, focusing on, I just said events are a huge customer acquisition for us, but also at the same time, people are coming to our website. I need to make sure those things are aligning. There's a saying in head of marketing, CMO world, that the very first thing you should not do is change the website. And that was one of the very first things I did once I became an official head of marketing, was change the website. And truthfully, it was for the better. So that was another aha moment when we really dug into things and understood this doesn't really reflect who we are and who we're saying we are and how we're talking to people. So taking a step back, looking at the data, understanding what's out there, and applying that. That was really huge for us.
I love that. And taking it back to what we're talking about, right? About taking action. So it's not just about it, and it's not even just about taking action, right? Because if you just keep taking action without reflecting, you're not going to grow. So what you're saying, you guys were taking action, right? But combining that with actually reflecting, like, how is the website doing, right? How are we positioning the messaging? You could really combine these two and really grow. So action and reflecting on the actions you are taking.
Yes, that's actually a very good point, because that was one of my biggest concerns with going with this website redo was, I don't want to just create another website. I want to create another website that makes sense for us. I want to know what the data is telling us. I want to know what our salespeople, like, how they're talking to people and what's going on. So that's actually a really good point. Taking action, but also reflecting and letting that guide you and letting that really drive what that action is going to look like at the end of the day. It's a really good point.
Yeah, love that. And when you were young, were you like a fan of Harry Potter when you were young?
I loved Harry Potter when I was younger. Still do today.
Yeah, I read all the books when I was young. And I remember, like, I was always going to the cinema to watch the newest movie with my mother. And let's say Harry Potter, like this right now, this pen is a magic wand. And with this magic wand, you could solve any problem in ProSymmetry right now in just 1 second. Out of all, like, the things which are going on right now, what would you choose with this magic wand?
That's a good one. And honestly, I'm going to go exactly with what I know my CEO would say, with my sales team, with literally everyone. I want all of the qualified leads. If I could wave my wand and solve every issue, every friction point, every point where the messaging isn't quite right, if I could fix all of that and just get a huge influx of qualified leads, I would be the happiest girl in the world. Yeah, really just getting more in the door.
Yeah, I love that. And you talked a little bit about it, like, in your introduction. What are some of the launches, some of the cool things which are coming up in the next little bit with ProSymmetry?
Yeah, so we did just release next our second flagship product, Tempest Portfolio. So we're really continuing to refine on that. With that release, we also have learned a lot in terms of how our customers are using the new product, how prospects are using the new product, and we continue to develop it and grow it. So I'm really looking forward to, I'm going to call it like a re-release of the product. That's not really true, but really the second version of that messaging. That's going to be huge for us. We are launching a podcast in 2026 as well, and I'm really excited for that, just because the content around PPM and strategic planning and resource planning and all of those things, it's there. In my opinion, it's lacking. And I have really good conversations with our customers. Our team members do every day. And some of them are asking the same questions. So why not get that out there? Why not share those questions, get the experts in, understanding how this organization is doing it? So on a little rant there, but we have our podcast coming out in 2026. So I'm super excited about that. And then I think just the continued growth. We are a company with ambitious goals. And like I've said many times now, we run lean, and applying what we've learned and continuing to grow and testing things. So 2026, I have a feeling, is going to be a really good year for just stepping on the gas and getting things done.
I love that. And let's say, for the people and the founders who are watching this podcast right now?
Yeah.
Like from all the knowledge you've shared and maybe which is going on into your mind right now, like what's one thing you would give away to these people who are watching the podcast? And with this one thing you're going to share, they can start implementing it straight away after watching the podcast. What's one thing you would give away to those people?
I think it's something that runs through the veins of our company and a lot of what I talked about today. Talk to your customers. Understand how they talk about your product internally. Understand what problems it solves for them. Understand how they what they say, and really just understand that. That doesn't mean you need to, go off and message one person said this and the next person said this, but really talk to your customers and sit down and understand them. That is the one thing I hope someone gets out of this today, because I think that really is going to help. I mean, our products are voice of customer driven. There's so much that we've built in our product that our customers just said, hey, this would be awesome, or I really need this in order to be successful. And just listen to your customers and start now. Throughout the next couple of weeks, not only are we interviewing some of our customers for our podcasts, which both content and also some intel, but also we're starting conversations with, hey, I want to make sure our messaging for 2026, what we're thinking is aligning with how you guys are doing it. So setting up meetings with customers just to talk to them about, like I said, how are you doing that? How are you talking about it internally? How are people thinking about Tempest internally? And so that's the one thing I would say to take away if someone were to listen to this and really want to apply something. It's reach out to your customers, get on a Zoom with them, and talk to them. And that's the biggest insight for anything within your company.
Of that. So don't just make things up. Don't think you are right. Because when you're thinking you're right, it's just your own perspective. It actually take action based on facts. And the facts are, if you actually start taking action on talking to those people and optimizing your product, what you're saying, our product is the voice of our clients, which I think is a really nice quote.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm the type of person, I love to do research within ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude or whatever. I like to do research, but at the same time, that is mumbo jumbo from the internet, so many different sources. I want to know the people who we are changing their business and we are helping them grow and we are helping them get more clarity. What are they actually saying? Because that's what really matters.
Amazing. And for the people who are watching the podcast right now, what are some of the ways they can connect with you, Samantha, or ProSymmetry as well?
Definitely. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Samantha Varner. That's V as in Victor, A-R, N as in Nancy, E-R. I try to post weekly on there. As we were talking about earlier about content, I'm trying to get more consistent with it. But LinkedIn is definitely the best place. As far as ProSymmetry goes, I mean, hey, I just talked about our website. Go check it out, ProSymmetry.com. And then YouTube as well. We have a pretty extensive YouTube channel, and it's a great home for a lot of content about the areas that we support in business, but also about our product and everything there. So I would say those are the 3 areas where you can find me and ProSymmetry.
Very nice. Samantha, thanks so much for being on the podcast, for sharing all your value. I'm going to make sure for everyone who's watching to put all the links of Samantha and ProSymmetry down in the description below, so you can really easily find it. And Samantha, thanks for being here. Everyone, thanks for watching, and see you next episode. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Joey. I appreciate it.